Zoe from Zealand Zen, and I am warming up on the stat bike to get ready to do my 7 primal movements for fitness series. And today I'll be showing you one of them. The 7 primal movements are squat, lunge, push, pull, gate, rotate, and bend. And each of those are really key movements in any fitness program and in any functional lifestyle. As we go through each day, we're going to be doing all of those things. So first I want you to make sure 5 to 7 minutes warm up in a low impact manner. Also make sure that you have your doctor's clearance to go ahead and start any kind of workout program. So make sure that you're physically able and comfortable to do that. And I think that's it. I will meet you with the first exercise shortly. Hi, it's Zoe from Zealand Zen, and I am here to do another primal movement. This time it is the bend. So when I say bend, there's lots of body parts that can bend. I'm talking about bending from the hips. So this one's a real important one to get right. There's a lot of potential, especially if you combine this with the twist, for back issues. So you need to be sure that you are good and solid through the back, no back issues at all, or osteoporosis. Those are 2 things you want to look out for this. So when we're talking about bending, and I'm just coming onto the side so you can see, it involves the whole back line of the body, actually starting from the sole of the foot, moving all the way up the back line and to the ridge of the brow actually. So the first part of the bend, you're actually going to be lengthening or stretching that as you bend forward. And then the second part, you're going to be contracting and looking for strength from that part. But we want to make sure that we've got the bend down pat before we get into any kind of complexity with body or adding weight or other types of movement. So again, remember, no back issues, no osteo. Be really safe with this. So why do we want to bend in the first place? Obvious, picking up anything, kids, groceries, bending over to look at something. There's lots of good reasons to bend. So let's get into the actual activity of the bend. So we're just going to go into a side view here. And I'm going to back up so that my buttocks are against the wall, and I'm just going to have a slight bend in my knees here. And this is really going to depend, how much of a bend you have in your knees is really going to depend on how tight you are through the back line of your body. Okay, so I want you to watch 2 movements. So I am going to bend from the hips here, and just watch that, and especially watch my spine. And then notice my knees don't change the bend at all from where they started. So there's one, and then the other one, you're going to notice that a little bit of rounding comes through the spine here. This is not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is this long, tall spine. And if you do this against a wall, the quick cue that you're probably doing things right, against a dry piece of drywall or something like that, you're going to actually hear your hips moving up the wall if you do this correctly. So if you get really quiet and you just take that fold with the long back, there's just a little bit of a sliding noise as the hips move up the wall in a proper bend. So this is the lengthening part as you're going down, and then the strengthening part as you go back up. And as mentioned, this is going to involve the whole back line of the body, and typically looks at strengthening the legs and the back of the thighs. So that's the intro to the bend. We'll get into various bend options shortly. Hi, Zoe from Zealand Zen with the first variation of movement on the bend. So I demoed the bend and walked through it from a standing position. One other way to work on the bend and work with that mobility there without worrying about what the lower body's doing and really relax the back line a bit is to do it from a seated place. So if you're in a chair where your knees are about 90, this one's a little bit high for me, but not that bad. You can do the same thing just spread your legs apart and slowly start to bend down. And just hinge from the hips again. And you'll feel your buttocks again moving on the seat this time instead of the wall as it did in the original clip. So just find that place there. And there's no need to add any weight. This is just all about getting the movement down. Okay, so another variation I'm going to do with this is a very basic stiff leg deadlift, which is what I demoed really against the wall, except for I didn't have any weight in my hand. So I'm going to move this chair out of the way and grab this bar. So you can have as a grip on the bar overhand or under, or one under, one over, it doesn't matter. Legs a little bit apart. Key thing here is you want to keep the weight even on the foot, so you don't want to be ending up into the toes, so keep it evenly on the back and front of the foot. Keep the bar close to the body, move in a smooth, flowy manner, no jerking, and a certain softness in the knees, but you don't lock them out. Like that's a locked out knee, if you can see that, a locked out knee versus a soft knee. Okay, and if needed, you can have a little bit more of a bend. So basically, the exact same thing as we did against the wall, but now you've got a load. So this is obviously a fairly light one, but just here to demo. So coming down, keeping the bar close, moving only within the range that's appropriate for your body, and then coming back up again. And hips kind of forward as you get to the top. Try to keep the same softness in the knee throughout. And go from there. So there you go. Stiff-legged deadlift is a movement where you really want to make sure your form's right. So I do strongly recommend working with a trainer on it. On to the next one. Here's another bend option with the stability ball. This one you start on your back. So have the ball between your legs. Lay down. And you might see a little bit of a rounding in the back on this one, and that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the arms and the legs up at the same time. So we're hinging here. And let the ball change from the feet to the hands. Come up again. And then back down. There you go. You can see there's a little bit of balance involved in that one. Hi, Zoe from Zealand Zen, working on the bend. So here's a couple of options on a stability ball for the bend. So these are a little bit more challenging, and I'll give you two variations. So you want to start with your feet on the ball and your shoulders over your wrists. And again, you want to try to keep that back nice and strong. Your abs are going to be working here. Take a bend in the knees, bring the ball to or your knees to your chest, and back out again. That's one option. Way to kick up the effort or up the ante a bit. Same starting position, but you're not going to use bent knee this time. You're going to use straight leg. So same setup, and then just roll the whole ball up and down. Hinging from the hips. On to the next one. So some of you yogis out there might recommend or recognize this as Warrior 3. So we're going to bend, but we're going to bend in such a way that one leg only is going to be on the ground. So I'm just going to soften on this side of my body, let that leg go behind me a little bit just to get going. Big toe can be down for if you need a little bit of stability, and if you want, you can have a wall in front of you again if you need some stability. But again, you want to hinge from the hips. But the thing is this, the right leg is going behind me as I do this, so I'm just bending over this standing leg. Okay, and you can put your arms wherever they feel comfy. And hips should not be up in the air like that. I push myself off balance when I do that, but square and flat. like that. So I'll move into that in a clearer way. And so starting one leg back, hinging from the hip, level through the pelvis, and then whatever arm movement is required here.